and thanks everybody for joining. It's nice to see familiar faces coming in and have had a chance to talk with some folks. So also keep in mind that this is recorded, and if you are a speaker and you don't want to be recorded, just let us know and we'll stop the recording. So then, and if you ever want to catch up with these meetings, they're on Rumble under Pure Integrity Michigan Elections, PIME, and you can view them. So thank you, everybody. Kristine, we're going to start right off with you, but Seth is heading into a dead zone out in Arizona. So if you don't mind, we're going to postpone you a little bit and let Seth Keshel introduce himself to the group and say a little bit what he's been doing down in Arizona. Go ahead, Seth.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Patrice, for the invitation. It's also great to see a lot of familiar faces. And it sounds to me like we are at the beginning of a partnership where I will be working hand in hand with a lot of you folks in the great state of Michigan. I've got a 4 years worth of, well, here's a Dalmatian that wants to join the call too. But we have, I've got 4 years of election integrity experience and a lot of experience in the state of Michigan. I've been all over the state from the Upper Peninsula down to Southeast Michigan, up in the Bay region. And I'm very well aware of a lot of the things that you guys have uncovered in your investigations. Working with a couple of your side groups now on some analytics packages. And I'm from PIME County in Arizona, which is Tucson. I'm married to a state representative who has done fantastic work in the field of election integrity, getting back to the basics in a state that has really gone off the rails in recent years, especially the last 10 years, as it goes to the conduct of elections. I am a former Army intelligence officer, veteran Afghanistan, and I've been panned in the media for my efforts in election integrity from the left and the right. You're on mute, Patrice.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us, Seth. We're really looking forward to your becoming involved in our organization, and we appreciate the talents and skills and dedication you bring to the party here. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Now, next up is Kristine, who is our communications leader, our fearless leader. And Kristine has a lot to report here. Go ahead, Kristine.
Well, I always want to start out by saying there are 72 weeks remaining until the November 2026 election. So it is just around the corner. I also always want to remind everyone that Michigan Fair Elections Institute is the only election integrity organization, and there are a number of them, that is producing original news content and publishing it. And just as a reminder, you can watch this broadcast again on either Rumble or on YouTube. And then every day you'll find something new on our website. On Mondays, well, almost every day. Usually, if not 5 out of 5 days, 4 out of 5 days. So the main thing that's on my radar right now is ranked choice voting, and that's coming up. So as you'll find out, I don't want to steal the thunder from the folks who have been in the trenches on ranked choice voting. They're really going to bring you up to date. But I will just let you know to expect a call to action email coming out that will have the time, the date, and all the details related to the upcoming meeting of the Board of State Canvassers. And just as a little preview, that number the date of that meeting, which is set a year in advance, has been changed this particular month. And just as a little side note, our director of the Board of Elections, Jonathan Brader, will not be, who is the secretary for the Board of State Canvassers, is on family leave, and he will not be until July. So I'm guessing he will not be attending that meeting. So for good or ill, I don't know if that's good or bad, but just if any of you were wanting to pose a question directly to him, he won't be there. So that's the main thing I wanted to mention today. Sherry, go ahead.
Thanks,
All right,
Kristine. Yes, I wanted to mention that Jonathan Brader was not at the prior meeting as well. And it was mentioned that he's on family leave, but the deputy director has been in charge last month and probably will be this month. His name is Adam Fracassi.
Okay.
So that's who will be sitting in for Brader.
Okay, good. Yeah. We did pose the question to Mr. Brader, why was this last minute change? But he didn't respond because he's on family leave.
So they once in a while they do change the meeting dates.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to know what their reason is here, but once in a while they do change them.
No, you're right, Sherry. They do.
They'll
but
change
usually
them if they can't get a quorum. They have to have a quorum.
Oh, I
So that's
bet.
probably it.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. It may be something as simple as that.
It
Shame
could
on
be that.
us.
And one last thing, I don't think any of the four people live in Lansing. I think they all have to drive in from somewhere, to my knowledge. So there could be things,
Yeah.
that came up.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you all for being here, and back to Patrice.
All right. Thanks, Kristine. Now we have Jacky Eubanks. Jacky has been in Europe, actually, dealing with immigration over there, straightening out Europe's immigration issues. So well done, Jacky. Now she can come home and get to work here. So Jacky is our field operations director, as you may know, and she's got a lot to report. Go ahead, Jacky.
Great. So just a couple of updates from our field program. We are launching chapters across the state. Our chapters are hosting their inaugural meetings. I know that Dorothy in Kent County just had her first official chapter meeting this week. And I know that there's another chapter that we're trying to launch in Gladwin County as of this week. I got to meet with a number of activists and patriots over in Gladwin County earlier in the week. So we're getting that up and running. We have been working tirelessly to organize people to pass out literature against ranked choice voting at different festivals, fairs, parades, and rest areas. We've been trying to keep up with the change in pace. The Rank My Vote activist group that's pushing ranked choice voting has been delaying a lot of their operations. It looks like they now officially have their petitions ready to submit to the Board of State Canvassers. So I've been telling our activists, get ready to go make public comment at the Board of State Canvassers meeting. But as of yesterday, they changed the time and location and date, or not the location, the time and the date. So those who are interested in making public comment about the 100-word summary on the ranked choice voting petition, please mark your calendars. The official change has been made for June 27th, and the time has changed to 9 a.m. And that's the Binsfeld office building, room 1100. So if you want, you can go, you can bring some friends, carpool to the meeting and give a public comment criticizing or critiquing the 100-word summary. If it does pass, it looks like the Rank My Vote people have decided that July 4th, Independence Day, will now be their new launch day to start circulating petitions. So we originally thought it would be Memorial Day. It was not Memorial Day. They delayed it. Now we're looking at a new federal holiday. So again, I apologize to all of our activists who have been anxiously waiting to start passing out anti-ranked choice voting literature. The reality is the Rank My Vote people have been pushing everything back. So trying to keep up with their changes. It looks like officially June 27th is that date for the Board of State Canvassers meeting. And then July 4th will be the day that they begin to circulate their petitions. So that is the update about that. And we do have the palm cards have pretty much completely been finalized at this point. I think we're doing one last check today, and then we will be able to send them to you. You can print them locally. You can get them printed at your local FedEx or Office Depot, whatever is most convenient for you. And you can have those to pass out. So that's kind of my update for now. Thank you, everyone.
That's terrific. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's a big deal for us. And we've jumped into with both feet with that. And actually,
Patrice,
yes,
could
yes.
I add something? So I've been to several Canvas board meetings reviewing word summaries, 100-word summaries. The only thing that can be critiqued is the 100-word summary, not anything ideological. So anybody who wishes to comment, please have a printed copy of your recommended alteration to the 100-word summary. Thank you.
Fred is exactly right. He's exactly right. It has to pertain to the 100-word summary and not an ideological support or just unsupport of the concept. We have today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about RCV today, and I've got Darlene on here to talk about that, as well as then hopefully we'll have where am I looking at it here? Jason Snead from Honest Elections Project joining us today. So that's exciting. We're really getting ahead of this because of the talent on this call and the involvement of the people. So thank you very much. And Ralph, I see you're here. You've got some interesting news. I talked with Professor Wagner this morning, and he's really thrilled you're going to be talking about what his is coming up here. It's the 16th. So go ahead and unmute yourself. You all know, let me just introduce Pastor Ralph Rebandt one more time, in the sense that this gentleman called the Detroit Clerk's Office 37 times. That is persistence, persistence personified. And he then was finally placed as an election inspector. So thank you. Kudos to you, Ralph.
It was my pleasure. It's one of these things that we cannot let go. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see how the governor's race runs and who's actually talking about election integrity anymore. I'll bet you the handlers and the consultants are going to say that's an old issue. Trump won. Let's not bring that up. It's not going to be good. But in my opinion, until our elections are completely secure, we are in trouble. We may have made it too big to rig, but we're still a long ways to go. So thank you, Patrice, for the kind introduction. Thank you for allowing me to be on this call. I just want to give you a quick update. I have a friend named Jerry Corsi. I don't know how many of you have heard of Jerry. I've known him since 2016. Back when Mueller's FBI was investigating and putting together the Russian collusion with Donald Trump, Jerry was arrested by the FBI. They interrogated him. He was in a room for a couple days without anything. They were trying to get him to bring up dirt on Donald Trump just so that he could go free. He would not. He's a man of courage and integrity. And what I want to share with you is what he and I have been talking about for probably 6 months now, when I first found out about what they were working on. And so I just want to talk really quickly about key dates, key people, and key testimony. So the key dates are basically this. You may remember back on March 25th, Donald Trump signed an executive order on election integrity. He called for the creation of voter IDs. He talked about paper ballots and proof of citizenship. Then I believe it was April 11th, Tulsi Gabbard in a TV conference and interview said that we have evidence of tampering on the machines. I'll give you the quote. She says, "We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward President Trump's mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in our elections." So those are the key dates we want to remember. The key people are these. There's an attorney that President Trump has hired. His name is Peter Tickton. Many of you may know his name on this call, but he is the attorney overseeing election integrity. There's another man named Dr. Andrew Paquette, and Andrew has examined many states here in America. I believe he started with Wisconsin and has determined that there are algorithms within those machines that manipulate the votes. In fact, the quote from him is that every state that he's investigated, I don't know how many he's investigated, but when I first heard about this, I talked to Jerry Corsi and said, "Hey, can you do that in Michigan?" And he said, "Well, we need some money to do that." And he'll be talking about that next Monday as well. But the bottom line is there are issues that we have right now, and these key people, much smarter than me, and they are just all about election transparency and computer manipulation. And so they found, and I'm going to mention this again, that every state voter board of education, say that quickly, has had tampering with it. And so they've taken that information to President Trump. And this, friends, is a national security issue. I just got off the phone with Jerry last night, and I said, Jerry, what are we going to do about it? And he said, well, President Trump, Jerry believes that President Trump in August or September of this year is going to issue a national emergency and require paper ballots, voter ID, and proof of citizenship to be able to vote in the 2026 election. This is so big, so huge that that's what I said, Jerry, what are the odds of him doing it? He said, I know he's going to do it. President Trump's going to issue that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. In terms of my third point, key testimony, I don't know if you folks have been tracking the Mike Lindell case in Colorado, but there was an FBI whistleblower who actually created programs to be able to manipulate foreign elections. And he said those same programs are here in the United States. And so we just need to keep praying that Mike's case will win, that people will see the evil that's out there and the manipulation. And then we also need to remember that evil will never quit. We can bring this stuff to light and they'll just come at us again. And when you're over the target, you get shot at. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. Patrice, thank you. I have a link that I could send to you, Patrice, via email, or email that you could forward to everyone on this call. I don't know that it's supposed to be an open email to everyone, but people who you trust, you could send it to. And Jerry's going to explain more of these in detail next week. And I could also send you Susan Heffling's email that I got, ironically enough, I think it was this morning, about the testimony from the gentleman who is the FBI whistleblower. I believe his name is Dennis Montgomery. So anyway, that's all I have to share, but it's some good news.
Well, I would like to reiterate that he will be part of the great Global Salt and Light lecture series. Is it on the 16th at, I remember thinking, oh, that's late, 7:45 p.m. or something, Eastern Standard Time. If you have the link,
I don't have that in front of me, but if I could just clarify, there's Salt and Light Council and there's Salt and Light Global. Professor Wagner's with Salt and Light Global, Jerry's with Salt and Light Council. So Salt and Light Global is here based in Michigan. Salt and Light Council is a national group based in California. But that's what he's on. And as I said, I'm happy to share that with you all if you'd like to see that.
Yeah, and that does clarify, because I told him that we were going to be talking about that today, and he seemed a little confused, and I thought, wow, he is so busy. He doesn't even know he's doing a lecture series on this. So,
oh dear.
That's really good.
Yeah. Well, if you want to disseminate it to people on this call, I'll forward you that Zoom request.
Sure. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Pastor.
Thank you.
So now we have our illustrious, beloved, great supporter, Erick Kaardal, with us. As you know, he is a legal warrior who's been standing tall against fighting the government, a graduate of Harvard and Chicago Law School, thousands of cases in election integrity that he's won, cases before the Supreme Court that he's won. And right out of school, he wanted to make something important out of his life. So he said, what should I do? Well, I'm going to stand up for the people against the government. And that's been his 30-some year career. So with that, I asked Erick to join us today to talk about some important things that Michigan Fair Elections has been doing and some of the accomplishments on the litigation side. Go ahead, Erick. Except you're muted. Got to unmute you.
Thank you, Patrice. I'm so happy that with respect to the visit that I made to Michigan for a few days, Patrice, you and others on the phone call helped coordinate that. And I viewed it as a significant success. And there have been a number of follow-on projects I know we're working on. And so thank you for that. The testimony, the highlight was the testimony before the Michigan State House of Representatives Election Committee, and I thought that all went very, very well. Now, this past week, one of the cases that Michigan Fair Elections is supporting, Congressman Bost versus Illinois, State of Illinois, Michigan Fair Elections filed an amicus curiae brief saying, hey, this is the case to establish congressional candidate standing. Now, we love the congressional candidates in Illinois, but we had some self-interest because we know there are congressional candidates in Michigan as well. So if we can establish in that case that congressional candidates have standing to challenge state executive official illegalities, that blows open the door for all the litigation we've been talking about. So what was the contribution the Michigan Fair Elections amicus curiae brief made to that case? And this is worth going through because in that brief, we were the first ones, I think, to argue, make this argument, at least in that case, but also in a broader way. And that is the elections clause should be looked at as a rule of fair competition. The framers of the U.S. Constitution were so concerned about federal elections being fair that they established in the elections clause a rule about how the rules are made for elections. And so the rule is that the state legislatures prescribe the time, place, and manner of elections subject to congressional enactments. So there are kind of like two rules committees. There's two types of rules committees. There's the congressional one, that's one rule committee. The other type are the 50 state legislatures. So the legislatures need to be involved in enacting the state laws regulating federal elections. And in the recent U.S. Supreme Court case, Moore v. Harper, the U.S. Supreme Court said that the power of the state legislatures under the Elections Clause is a particular federal power, but it is limited by federal and state constitutions. So what role under the federal state constitutions do the executive branch officials have in enacting laws regulating federal elections? Well, what they have is the veto power, right? So the power that a president or a governor has is when the respective legislatures are enacting laws regulating federal elections, the executive branch can veto it, send it back, the legislatures can override. But short of that, the elections clause is a limitation on your Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, other Secretary of States. They must follow the law, because if they don't follow the law, what are they doing? They're making new law. And the election clause says the state legislature needs to be involved in making new law regulating federal elections. So there are many amicus curiae briefs filed over the last few months in this case, and the petition was granted last week. So the U.S. Supreme Court will hear this case in the fall. The briefing will occur over the summer. So Michigan Fair Elections will file an amicus curiae brief also on the merits to ensure this idea of fair competition is in the opinion. And then if and when we prevail, then we have to have a list of lawsuits that we're going to file in federal court against Benson, right? Now remember, you don't need congressional members. You know, your congressional members of Michigan have been awfully stingy in joining our cases. You just need congressional candidates. So you might even want to recruit congressional candidates who are running on the notion these elections need to be fair, right? And so I really think this is a wonderful development. Years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court said, "Hey, look, there's a problem with our standing doctrine in federal election cases. The only people who get access to federal court are voters, and we understand that there should be some sort of standing for people challenging, election officials who've gone off the rails, and this is a step in the right direction." I still believe that there's more standing development involved in this. Last week, we filed a follow-on lawsuit to the Michigan state legislators case in Pennsylvania. So the Pennsylvania state legislators have brought their claim for individual legislator standing now to the U.S. Supreme Court as well. And so we're still battling on that front as well. So in the end, right now, I know this, that we know that state legislatures can sue the state executive officials for violating the federal and state election laws regulating federal elections. And we're working on getting individual state legislators to have standing in the same way. And we're on a course here that congressional candidates will be able to bring those claims. Now, maybe congressional candidates, the types of claims they can bring will be narrower than state legislature or state legislators, but that'll all be worked out. But there are a list of, we know there are a list of federal and state legal violations regarding federal elections in Michigan. And when we get this door blown open, we can just bring those claims systematically and get Michigan's elections fixed. So it would be a big step forward. The other thing too is that if we can take the state Senate back in 2026, the litigation can like go along with the legislation. It can complement each other. And so there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. Last week was a really good week for Michigan fair elections. Thanks, Patrice.
Thank you. And it was a good week for Michigan fair elections because it was because of Erick's hard work and the research that this team does here on this call. So we were able to gather the information and get it to Erick throughout the various cases that we filed, and then deploying teams to get things done. And then Erick's he's the champion at the front, arguing the legal case, and putting it together. So thank you, Erick. It's a pleasure working with you.
Well,
And also,
Patrice, got one thing that
Sure.
on the Electronic Registration Information Center case in Minnesota, that's on petition to the U.S. Supreme Court as well. The clients came up with some funding. And so, and we're also interested eventually in suing their butts in a class action for damages. And so eventually, maybe we can make them pay for their sins, which would be great. And that'd be and so we're still working on that. And so we want to see Michigan get out of Erick, and we want to see these other election problems resolved. But it's the platform is being created to do that, and it's just taking a while. So thank you.
Thank you. And I should just add to that cases take time. And when we started these, I guess, to be frank, I had no idea. I figure you file a case, the judge rules, and it's done. Isn't how it works. You file a case and you wait, and then they make a decision, and then you appeal, and all of that, I mean, we're not talking months, we're talking years on these little buggers. So anyway, it's a learning process for all of us, and that's why it's so important to start early and to gather the information, because what we're finding also is on other information that we're gathering, that we've gathered over the time, the other reports we've done in the past, like the lights out report about kids voting, college students voting from dorms during COVID. All that now has a listening ear at the federal level, whereas we didn't have listening ears before. So it's interesting. So thank you, everybody. I wanted to now introduce Jason Snead. If you don't know Jason, he's been on our call here a few times, and he's a beloved supporter. He's with Honest Elections Project, and he's really involved with ranked choice voting. I want to introduce also Darlene Hennessy. She's the co-leader on the ranked choice voting team here in Michigan, and she's also the Wayne County leader. So Jason, what we'll do is we'll have you talk first, and then Darlene will fill in afterwards with what we're doing at the state level, and maybe you'll bring up ideas too that she'll want to address. So go ahead, Jason.
Sure. Thanks, Patrice. Well, the good news is that we continue to see a number of states advancing bans on ranked choice voting. Actually, just 2 days ago, I was just south of you all in Columbus, Ohio, testifying in the legislature there on Senate Bill 63, which has cleared the Senate. So this was testimony in the House, and that would make Ohio the 18th state to ban ranked choice voting if we get it through. And my sense from the testimony is that it will sail through when they actually get it on the calendar. They're going through budget season right now. That has taken a lot of the oxygen out of the room. But I'm hopeful that we'll get Ohio to be the 18th state to ban ranked choice voting. We've seen so far this year 6 states enact laws. Iowa, is the most recent one to actually sign a ban. So that's been extraordinary extraordinary progress in the fight against ranked choice voting. Unfortunately, there were a few states that we saw that came close but didn't quite seal the deal. Texas is an example of that, where Democrats in the Texas House killed a ranked choice voting ban, SB 310, for, I believe this might have been actually the third consecutive legislative session where they were able to do that. So it once again cleared the Senate and was sent over to the House, but they used a procedural motion, a point of order, to kill it in the dead of night, unfortunately. So there are still a few places where we expect that there will be some action on ranked choice voting this year, Ohio being one of them, and then of course Michigan as well. I'll have the privilege of being up there to testify in front of the Election Integrity Committee in the Michigan House on the 24th of this month, and we'll be talking exclusively about ranked choice voting and a forthcoming ban that we hope will get introduced in the Michigan House. Of course, with divided government, I'm not sure what the prospects of that will be, but we'll certainly give it the best effort and support that we can. I think that this is a winning bipartisan issue, and it would be fantastic if we could get Michigan in the list of states to ban RCV. Of course, that is not going to be the final word on the subject. That will be this initiative, which has already been mentioned. So it looks like I will actually be in Lansing twice in the same week, because I intend to be there on the 27th for the Board of Canvassers. Myself and Trent England, we're both the co-chairs of the Stop RCV Coalition. We've retained counsel, and we'll be there ready to go to fight over the 100-word summary and make sure that that is an accurate representation of what this proposed ballot measure actually does. And looking at the 100-word summary and actually comparing it to the text of the measure, which is, as has been mentioned, we can't fight over what the measure actually says, what it would do, the policy and so forth, but we can fight over what the 100-word summary says. And there's a lot in that measure that is not even mentioned in the 100-word summary. And there's a lot of fluff in that summary that hardly has anything to do with the thrust or the substance of this. I mean, I think that when you look at a specific mention of paper ballots, for instance, and keeping records available for audits, that's very clearly ballot candy that's designed to appeal to moderates and conservatives and make you think about all these other nice things, and then maybe you tolerate ranked choice voting. It hardly says a word about the actual process of RCV. It doesn't say anything at all about redistributing votes. It maintains the facade that this is going to deliver majority requirements and so forth. And weirdly, when you actually look at what the measure does, it exempts some offices. So on the one hand, it claims to say that there is now a fundamental right to a ranked choice election. And then on the other hand, it says, but that doesn't apply to state legislative offices, to judicial races. So it's a weird collection. It's a grab bag of offices. Some are in, some are out, and that really is going to lead to a lot of complexity on the ballot. So I think there's a lot here that we can use to hopefully throw some sand in the gears. They really clearly, plainly do not want to talk about ranked choice voting, and that's the same exact thing that we have seen in every state that has considered these ballot measures so far. They don't want to talk about it. They want to use kind of propaganda style language to make you think that this is going to be nice and make you feel warm and fuzzy, and talk about audits and paper ballots and anything other than what they're actually trying to do. So we're going to be putting together our own 100-word summary. And I am very glad that you guys are all over this. All the support and engagement from you guys is going to be crucial here. But we will be there on the 27th as well, and we'll be fighting it out in the trenches with you to try to get some accurate descriptions in this 100-word summary. And then, of course, that is just the beginning of what is really going to be a marathon. So I'm really glad that you all are as engaged as you are. You're really ahead of the curve. When we were fighting this out in all those states last year on the ballot, almost nobody had the infrastructure or the engagement this early in the process. So this is a real game changer. So Patrice, you and the entire network, my hat's off to you for what you're doing, and I'm just looking forward to being able to work with you guys and hopefully notch some wins here against this ballot measure.
So I'd like to introduce, before we take questions, have Darlene talk, but I would just like to say that in the past, when National Popular Vote was trying to come into Michigan, we met with by phone over the weekend before the meeting, and with they were the two Board of State canvassers that were on the Republican side. And we tailored wording that they were comfortable with. And because of that pre-work, I believe that's how we were able to kick it out. Because the more we can get them on board and get an alternative that they can support, I think the better off we'll all be. So I'll be happy to work with you on that too. So we're really thrilled to have you on the team here. Go ahead, Darlene, tell us what's going on in Michigan and add on to anything Jason added that you said that you'd like to add on to.
Patrice. Thank you, Patrice. And Jason, that was great. And I'm looking forward to hearing your testimony on the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and then on the 27th, attending that as well. So in what we've been doing in Michigan with Michigan Fair Elections, Jacky and I have been working a lot on getting all of our ducks in a row and having presence and going out into the public and giving PowerPoint presentations. And one of the couple of things that I have been working on is with different counties. I started with Wayne, writing resolutions against the ranked choice voting. So I have two that are working on it, one that is thinking about it, but I'm pretty sure she'll come around. And then we're going to start taking it out to the other counties in the states and ask them to write a resolution against ranked choice voting. And then Shelly Lake, who is our lead clerk advocate, she and Patrice, and I'm not sure who else worked on the clerk letter, but we have a clerk letter that we are planning to take to the clerks because there is so much confusion and voter suppression, and it's not transparent, and it's difficult. They have all the education they'd have to do, the cost that goes into it, and delayed results that are on that clerk list, and that how this is going to make their job even more difficult. And hopefully we'll be able to get them to sign a letter coming from the clerks. I know that out in Oregon, there was a majority of the clerks in Oregon did sign letters against having ranked choice voting because of all of the difficulties it is and how, all the cost and the training that has to be done. And I've watched people respond to the trainings that they have had in California, and that they felt that there was not enough training, even though they trained for over a year. They felt also that the training was coming from different people every time they went to another class, and they didn't feel like they ever had a idea of what ranked choice voting was about. So we're trying to make sure we educate the voters now so that if it does go to ballot, a proposal, they'll be really ready and prepared.
Thank you, Darlene. Now we've got a lot of questions here. I think Allison might have had her hand up first. Go ahead, Allison.
Hey, Jason, thank you for taking up Ohio's cause on this, but I want to point out a significant difference between the bill that Michigan is putting on and the bill that Ohio is hearing testimony on right now. It is my understanding that 53 literally only prevents funding to counties that adopt ranked choice voting. It is not a statewide ban. That's my issue with the bill in its state. Can you clarify if I'm mistaken?
Yeah, so the bill says that ranked choice voting elections are prohibited as a matter of state law. But there's some concern that's been raised about basically home rule style limitations and what the state legislature can do for localities. So it essentially uses the legislature's budgetary purse strings to say, if you actually do use a ranked choice voting election, then you lose access to a lot of your your state funding. So they're trying to essentially use the hammer to prevent any jurisdiction from employing ranked choice voting, and that's due to, again, some of the limitations in terms of what the legislature can actually do short of a constitutional amendment. And the concern always with the constitutional amendment fight is that that's extraordinarily difficult for our side to fundraise for, to get it across the finish line, whereas the other side can bring in 10, 15, $20 million almost at the drop of a hat to try to keep that thing from passing. So it's not perfect by any stretch, and it is not a clean ban, as you point out. But nevertheless, I think that it is a very good way to prevent jurisdictions in Ohio from using ranked choice voting, and to allow the Secretary of State to quickly act if one does try to employ RCV. And that's why we supported it.
Great, thank you. Go ahead, Sherry. I think your hand was up next.
Oh, thank you. Two quick questions. I was wondering, first of all, will the Ohio legislature go on summer break here pretty soon? You said you weren't sure they were going to get it through very quickly.
Yeah, there's going to be, I'm not sure exactly what the schedule is. They're going through the budget process right now. I think probably based on the conversations I had, it would be something that would get passed in the fall, would be my guess. But it's a very good sign. It cleared the Senate, and they were holding, and it was sent over to the House just a couple of weeks ago. And they've already held the initial sponsor testimony and then the proponent testimony earlier this week. So in terms of the hearings, it's moving fairly quickly. And I think that's a really positive sign. And again, based on the testimony that I gave and the reactions from the committee and the conversations I had there, I really think that it's in a strong position. It cleared the Senate, incidentally, not quite unanimously, but there were only a handful of votes against it. It cleared with Democratic support as well. And in fact, a Democratic state senator is one of the two sponsors of the bill. So that gives me some hope that it will clear in the final analysis and get sent to the governor.
That's amazing. My second question was, I couldn't help but think when you were speaking earlier about the example that we know very well. Darlene has put it in her PowerPoint presentation, which I have also been using speaking to groups, but there's an example in there of an election in Alaska where on the first round of ballot counting, I think this was a Senate race, correct, Darlene? But Sarah Palin was clearly in the lead, but didn't have 50% plus one. And then the fourth candidate in round one was the one who ended up winning. Is anything like that an example that could demonstrate during testimony, since you're saying that a lot of the language in the ballot, the petition proposal, the 100-word summary is not inclusive of how ranked choice voting really works. So could an example be used to show the board that they need to do a lot of work on this before they approve the language?
Yeah, I think there are certainly some examples that can be used to kind of show how this is really a process of manufacturing an artificial majority. The Sarah Palin race that you mentioned, that House election, is a good example of one where you had 60% of the state vote for Republican candidates, but a Democrat gets elected. There are plenty of other examples where you have somebody who gets 20 or 25% of the first place vote, but then by the end of 6, 7, 8 rounds of elimination, they've had their margin inflated to 50 or 60% based on second, third, even fourth place votes. There are some clear examples, and we'll be ready with our testimony. I encourage you all to consider that as well, to explain why it might be important to include some of the actual mechanics of ranked choice voting in the 100-word summary. But even short of that, I think there's a really strong argument to be made to the board that the thrust of this is about ranked choice voting. They have in there, I've got their measure pulled up, they've got 2 full pages of dense text to explain all of the different ways that this works, all of the different ways that your ballots are treated, the way that the rankings are handled, what they call inactive ballots, but basically exhausted ballots and so forth. None of that has made it into the 100-word summary. They prefer to talk about everything except that. And I think there's a really good argument to make that, look, this is about ranked choice voting, and you need to have something in there that at least explains the mechanics mechanics of this, right? And doesn't conflate a vote with a ranking, which is what RCV always does. They say a fourth place vote is the same thing as a first place vote. And so if you have, 5 people running and you rank all 5 of them, and we get down to the very end and we have to count your ballot as the 4th ranking, that means the exact same thing as the first place vote. That's absurd. And I think that is why it's so important to get that in there, and try to remove, what they try to say, that this is about majorities. The other thing in here is that they're very careful with the language in the 100-word summary. They say it guarantees a majority for major offices, but as we know, there are a lot of races. Where I live in Virginia, we've got school board races and so forth, city council races that are multi-candidate elections, and there is about a third of a page here that specifically details how ranked choice voting is used, where you don't need a majority to win an election. So there's a lot in here that has not made it into the 100-word summary, and I think that there should be a mention of some of that as well. Ultimately, I think for the summary language, if we can show what RCV is and how confusing it is, I think that's going to be really helpful if it gets on the ballot.
So we're going to have to move on to give time for other folks, but keep in mind too that the laws that they cite in that 100-word petition regarding 2 years of records and other things, those are already laws here in Michigan. So it's redundant, it's deceptive. It is not, those are not new laws or new changes. So that should be struck purely on the fact that it's not changing anything. So thank you. All right. Dorothy, you had a question. Why don't we have you ask one last question, and then I want to do the All-Star Award.
Yeah, that's fine. I was trying to take my hand down, but I was actually going to make a statement, and that is that I did meet with our county clerk on Monday and the city of Grand Rapids clerk, and neither one is for ranked choice voting, but what the county clerk said is that in their, I forget what it's called, where all the clerks meet, all the clerks were, not for it, because it will make their job a nightmare.
Good. We've got, as Darlene was saying, we've got a clerk letter we're going to be circulating for clerk signatures to help oppose this, because this is really important to get the clerks expressing opposition. That'll help a lot. Great.
And
Thank you, Dorothy.
if I may, real quick, Patrice, we have heard, and in fact, we know it's a fact that Fair Vote, which is one of the big groups that's pushing this, has made a very deliberate and concerted attempt to reach out to the clerks, hear their concerns, and try to educate them on why this isn't going to be such a big deal. So I think it's really important that we keep having those conversations with the clerks now, and keep thinking through what their concerns are and how we can mobilize that community of voices, which is going to be very respected within the state. And they're the guys who are going to have to relearn everything, and this will make substantial changes to the way that you all run elections, including tabulations. Setting aside how difficult it is to run an RCV election, this would almost certainly require central tabulation as well, which is a completely different way of running an election than what they're accustomed to. So I think it's great that you guys are engaging with them right now.
So also, Davey put in the chat, if you could give us talking points to challenge the 100 words for those being rallied to testify in Lansing on June 27th, that would help a lot. And also, Jacky and Darlene might want to mention, let's do it next week. We'll talk about our rcvalert.org, which is a new website we're bringing up in opposition to this. So this is in working with Phil Eisen, who's been very helpful. So great. Okay. So now it is my great pleasure to announce the All-Star Award. And as you know, every week we recognize a volunteer who has given above and beyond and is really an instrumental person in our organization. And I'm just thrilled to recognize Rosemary Tanner, because Rosemary has been invisible to us, because you know what she does? She makes custom written thank you notes and sends them out to everybody who donates to our organization. And so none of us here would be, you know, seeing Rosemary, but we're all feeling her touch. So thank you so much, Rosemary. You will be receiving a letter from Michigan Fair Elections acknowledging your exceptional work and your all-star status. And you will also be receiving a challenge coin. And Rosemary, if you haven't been on the call in a while, so you probably don't know that challenge coins started in the Roman times. They were used as a way of identifying people of a select group, so that people could tell that they were real. So welcome, Rosemary. And if you'd like to say a word or two, we'd love to have you comment. If you can unmute.
Well, thank you, Patrice. It's a great pleasure to do that. You know, sometimes I can't get involved with other things, but I do love the card making, and I send out the cards. I think people appreciate that, and it's just something I enjoy doing. So thank you for the acknowledgement.
I know we took you by surprise. I always enjoy calling on people so I can listen to them babble. And you were very articulate, darn it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Now, last but not least, and definitely not least, is Shelly Lake. She joined the call later during the call, so I'm really glad she made it. Shelly is our statewide clerk advocate, and her job is, which she stepped forward to do, the mantle she's wearing, is to reach out to each jurisdiction in the state and try to find one person that can be the designated person to interact with the local clerk, so that we don't swarm the clerks with a lot of people coming at them. So what I'm asking Shelly to do is to give us an update. So go ahead, Shelly.
Oh, hi there. Thank you, and sorry for being late.
Fine.
So I'm hoping that our first meeting for our current county leaders, I sent out an email that our first WebEx will be next week. After that, we'll have weekly. They will be fast, so I know everybody's busy. So please check your boxes for those. I just did receive the list of all the chairs of the parties for the state, so I'm going to be reaching out to them to ask if they have someone in those counties, especially in those top 20 counties, if they have someone involved in election integrity or would like to get involved. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, our county, in Berry County, we have a Berry County Clerks Association. I don't know if other counties have that, and yes, they meet once a month. And so I talked to our county clerk, and I'm going to ask them to sign the letter as a county clerk association. So it would be great if we find out which counties have that, because, you know, yes, it'd be great to have some individual names on that RCV letter too, but so I'll be asking about those questions as well. And I attended Dorothy Cribb's Kent County chapter leader. I know that's not part of my program speech, but she did a great job. And Berry County will be having theirs in about 2 weeks. So if any other chapters are going that are around Berry, Kent, let me know. I'd love to attend. But I did draft an introduction letter to all clerks. With Dorothy's help, Alan Dunt, several people have updated most of the all clerks in Michigan. And first we'll be sending out an introduction letter, and then I do believe RCV will be coming right on top of that. And it's really just going to be a, hey, did you know? Or, hey, just reminding you of this law that, you know, just the helpful hints we can send, anything at all. So we really, I know most of them do not want advocates. We're kind of have been known as a thorn in their side, but I'd like to change that and build relationships instead.
So thank you, Shelly. And anybody that would like to participate either in supporting Shelly in like researching what the county organizations are regarding clerks, or would like to be a clerk advocate, possibly yourself, just put it in the chat here for Shelly, and we'll be sure she gets it. Or if we get off the call, yes, and you think about it later, Shelly, why don't you put your email in the chat here so people can have that too?
Okay, I sure will. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. All right, now are there issues or topics anybody'd like to bring up for the day? It's a little late in the conversation to be bringing up, but are there things anybody'd like to talk about? Go ahead, Chris.
Yes, the one from Arizona, Frederick, Seth Keshel. So, it's so good and refreshing to hear people working in other states, especially a, well, Democratic state like Arizona, where it, from all appearances, from what the news reports I've heard, it's pretty crooked. But because I do hear actual, like, for example, conservative radio hosts, when someone calls in and because the person's frustrated with their state and their elections and they don't trust it, I've heard 2 different times the same super popular hosts tell the people on 2 separate calls to move out of the state. So what could, okay, thank you. Because, you know, if we can make it work here in Michigan, if we can keep fixing Michigan, then, you know, any state, well, besides maybe California, could be successful. And what good does it do to keep moving out of states, you know? But everybody can't move to Tennessee and Florida. But I just wanted to say that it's, to hear people in these other states hanging in there is good to hear. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chris. And I heard Senator Rick Scott from Florida. He made a really good point. He said, you know, Florida used to be a blue state and a swing state. And he said it turned because people got involved. And, you know, you can leave, and what you're doing then is you're abandoning ship.
Yeah.
But Florida turned because people got involved and they straightened out their elections. And that's, you know, that's what we're doing. So I appreciate that comment. That's really good, Chris. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thanks. Okay.
Allison?
Yes, just briefly, Catherine Engelbrecht and True the Vote put out they have a new tool now called LegiTrack. And I would encourage everybody on this call to go on to that LegiTrack, look in your state for election integrity legislation that has come on their radar. I found Ohio's bill that I just testified on 2 weeks ago in there, but they had given it a positive reading where we are saying, oh, heck no, because it fails to address the 8 million registrations that are unvalidated on the registration or on the voter rolls right now. So I was able to reach out to Catherine and they sent back a note. That's why they have it on there. They want your feedback. So please go to LegiTrack, or if you follow Catherine Engelbrecht and True the Vote, there is a new link up there, and go please provide feedback to the legislation for Michigan if you don't agree with it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Allison. Fred?
Yes, Patrice. On the canvas board hearing, you can send in email comments. You can attend the session in a Zoom. And if there are specific threads that all somehow line up together, it would be best if we coordinate that we follow that, so that the canvas board members do not become, you know, looking at too many things. They'll cherry pick the one they want. So having the legal counsel is going to be a decided advantage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. Go ahead, Walter. Walter Johnson, you're muted.
Yeah, hi. Rochester Hills recently consolidated their voter precincts, and the clerk sent out new voter identification cards. And as part of that mailing, included the voter identification requirement saying you're supposed to show your card photo ID. But then it says, or sign an affidavit attesting that you are not in possession of photo identification. I thought that affidavit had to say more than that you're just not in possession of the photo ID.
Well, you have to attest that you are who you say you are,
Yeah.
and that you don't have ID on you. Yeah.
Doesn't have to indicate that you are a resident or a citizen.
No, just that you are who you say you are.
I gotta
Which is,
ask the clerk about this because it just says, just attesting that you are not in possession of photo identification. I thought that was strange.
it's another travesty. It's another travesty in our quiver of arrows of travesty.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
Walter. That's a good point. All right. Let's see. I think I see a hand up from Ben Jameson. Go ahead, Ben. You're muted. Sorry, Ben, I can't hear you. You're still muted.
Okay, so we got the email yesterday about MIFE being denied a booth at the Michigan Township Clerks Association convention, right? Okay,
That's
so
right.
I just wondered, was there any follow-up, any clarification, or is there a strategy to try to get approved, or are they're full?
Jeff, you go ahead and address that.
TBD. That's all I
TBD?
can say right now. TBD. We're thinking of some ideas, so it's TBD. That's all I can say.
He's working on it.
Well, do you think it was really that our theme didn't quite match and they had limited space, or they're not real warm to us yet?
TBD.
I don't think they're warm to us yet. I think that's a fair assumption, but they could have had space issues. I don't know. But I'm glad Jeff is looking into it. He'll work it. Jeff will work it.
Yes, I will.
Wrestle it
And
to the ground.
long story short, in politics, a week is a long time. Okay, so what's true this week may change next week.
Let's hope. All right, Shelly, I see your hand up. Is it intentionally up?
Oh, yep. Just real quick. So I attended part of the EIN Citizens Only Zoom today while driving. And I wanted to also let you know that I did apply for our township to be able to use that save database because no one else in our county has yet. And also asked our county clerk too. So hopefully we'll pass inspection. And but anyway, I'm going to get back to process to you guys on what exactly is asked and how clerks can do that.
Fabulous. That's fabulous work, Shelly. That's good to hear. I'm eager to hear what you learn. So great. Thank you. All right, Jeff, is your hand up? Is it a remnant or is it a hand up? Frederick Nienstead? I think it might be a remnant. So, okay. So thanks everybody for coming.
Rosemary Tanner has her hand up. Rosemary Tanner.
I'm sorry, Rosemary. Go ahead, Rosemary.
Just a quick question. Do we have any Senate campaign or governor candidates that have been endorsing or talking about this? Because I have a contact with one of the governor candidates that might be worth reaching out to if you guys haven't already attempted that.
You know what? That's a good idea. We should start another contract with Michigan and have them commit that they would oppose RCV. That's a good idea. Have that as one of the items on there.
I can reach out to my contact because he works for one of the people that is, wants to run for governor. And I think that would be a good campaign thing that they need to start talking about this.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Okay, well, I can do that. I just didn't want to do it if you guys had already reached out because, I'm a day late, a dollar short here. So I can do that. I will put a burr under his bonnet to get his boss to start talking about this.
Do I have anybody that would like to revise the contract with Michigan so that we could incorporate that? We haven't revised it really to get going for the 2026 election, but we need somebody just to take it under their wing.
Well, I can work on that if you send it to me. So
okay, and I think I saw Sherry's hand go up and down. So you two, you and Sherry can be the contract with Michigan committee.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I've worked with Sherry in a long time.
Okay, so you know each other.
Rosemary, I'm excited. Yeah, I haven't seen you in forever, but I know you're out there working like a bee.
I know, it's just been crazy. All
Well,
right.
thanks, everybody. Thanks. Thanks a lot for coming, everybody. Bye.
Bye.